What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, family, friends, Discord members? Let me introduce you to Nova. Now, this is an alpha build, okay? And I'm still very much in the process of building it, so you may see some little bugs or some little weird UI things throughout this demo. For example, there's a floating ready here. That's for my convenience so I can see things while I'm testing, right? Like this will go away. It's over here as well. That will probably stay. Um, this model switcher will change. Things are going to change. The conversation naming convention. You're going to notice little small things throughout this demo that are unfinished. But let me just tell you, I've built a lot of software. I've built a lot of software in my life. I've been doing this for 15 years now. This is the coolest thing that I have ever made, and I'm really happy with how it's turning out. And it's very much a tool for me, and you're gonna see that throughout this demo that it's tailored to me and it talks to me and it knows me. But I am planning on making that configurable so it can be tailored and geared towards other people potentially in the future if there's an interest for this tool. Now, this is not a web app, at least not currently. This is a desktop app. It's written with Next.js, meaning we can turn it into a web app, and that's something we can talk about in the future. I know you guys are like, shut up, I just want to see this thing. But when I start going through it, like y'all are gonna want this thing. This is cool. So let's get started, shall we? All right. So we'll start with the chat screen. This is pretty basic. If you've ever used AI, it's a chat system, right? But where we're different here is Nova has access to all of the tools inside of this piece of software that I built. So if you take a look here down the bottom and you hit slash, you can see that she has skills. And in those skills, you have subcategories and then actual independent skills. Now, you don't have to click on these. She actually, if you talk to her and you ask her to do something, she is smart enough to reason to use these skills. You don't have to actually come in here and bring these up, but they're there if you want to as well. So I'll show that in a bit. I'll show examples of both. But so she has lots of skills here. She can write to the vault within Nova, meaning that she can store things in her own memory or in the notes feature, which we will see later. She can modify and edit the entire calendar. So there's a calendar in the app, which you'll see soon as well. She can update and change and, delete, edit, remove, whatever, all that stuff. I said delete twice, sorry. Your portfolio, which you'll see there's actually a portfolio tracker in the app as well. She can run the entire screener. Now, this isn't a regular stock screener. This is a stock screener tailored to my investing style that I teach in Leaving the Matrix. So, that is why this is a very, very strong tool and is very unique, and there's nothing like it out there, and we'll get to that soon. She has control of the entire screener, and all these commands are things that can be done inside of the screener. Computer use, she can open websites, she can open an app, she can create plans to use software asynchronously or synchronously within my computer, and she can play music. I use YouTube because it's free. That's a more for me thing, right? Like, I don't know if I'd release that to everybody necessarily because it may or may not be useful. Again, this is very much a fun passion project and creating a tool for myself, but I have a feeling that other people are going to want something similar. So, next, we have our CRM. Now, again, this is just for me. Like, I have clients because I run multiple businesses, so she can control the client list as well. So, we hit escape, and we can see this in action, okay? So, we'll come back to the chat later because you'll understand the value of it better once you see the rest of the app. So, let's proceed. So, this is the portfolio screen. Again, very unfinished, ugly kind of UI here. But basically you can, and this is all mock data, it's not real, but you can, add, remove assets, items, whatever to all these different buckets, right? So here's a taxable account, has cash, has all these different stocks. You can see the news on that given stock. If I actually click this, it'll take you to the website where that news is coming from, and we can remove anything. You can add different types, stocks, total stock if you don't want to add individual items, but you just want to indicate like this is a stock position. You can put an entire stock amount in there, cash, real estate, which looks like this, right? So these you have two lands or two pieces of land here, lot one, lot two, worth 50 grand, both paid off, and in this case you have a house with $380,000 and the mortgage of 285, so it knows you have $95,000 of equity in it. So just a basic regular old portfolio manager, and you can add different buckets, right? So I could add another account here and then start adding stuff inside of it. Not super crazy beneficial to anything, but again, the AI has access to all of this information, which already makes this extremely valuable. And you might be wondering why, but Nova has access to your portfolio, so she can give you suggestions on your portfolio. So again, we're going to bounce back and forth to chat lots of times, but probably for each feature so you can see how it works. So if we go to chat and we actually bring up our quick prompts here, we can do this portfolio check, or you could just ask her, hey, I want you to check my portfolio. But you can see if I click portfolio check, she's going to read back my portfolio to me from that screen, as well as all the account names, which you guys saw, right? This is exactly what was in that screen. And then it's going to give you news, right, about each of the tickers that you hold, the individual tickers, and then material things that she wants you to pay attention to. So risk mainly, right, with any of your portfolio. So she's telling me to be worried about Celsius here because it's down quite a bit over the last few months, right? And so that's extremely valuable because if you update your portfolio in here, you can actually get an AI like financial assistant sort of to kind of advise you and give you some things to look out for with what you're holding. So you can also just talk to her. So I could say, hey Nova, um, play Nothing Else Matters by Metallica for me. And you'll see she's actually going to bring up YouTube for me. Play Nothing Else Matters by Metallica. Pretty cool, right? Now, obviously, you would probably not use her to do that necessarily. I just want to do something quick, but you can talk to her. You know, she has the ability to talk back to you as well. I just have that disabled for this video, but here you go.
On it, pulled it up. Good choice. Slow burn, all tension. Suits the hour.
Right, so if I say, hey Nova, tell the people watching this video a short story that'll make them laugh. She actually has a personality trained to be kind of edgy, which I taught her to. So she should be a little bit of sarcastic here. Yeah, so she's talking shit. This is funny.
All right, gather round. So Luke decides to take Brad into Apex one night. A charity run, really. Squad drops fragment. Within 4 seconds, Brad has somehow looted a Mozambique, a single shotgun shell, and what he sincerely believes is a rare knockdown shield. Enemy team rolls up. Luke's already cracking shields. I'm in his ear calling rotations, and Brad is crouched walking in a circle around a death box. Not looting it. Just orbiting it. Like a moth that found religion. Luke goes, Brad, push left. Brad pushes. Right. Directly into an open field. A Bangalore main 200 meters. Away sneezes.
Alright, you get the point. So her voice is imperfect. That's still a work in progress, and I honestly don't know how far I'm going to go with that because I don't use it a lot, to be honest. Like, that's not the value of the app, but I just thought it was kind of funny. And you can see she came up with a short story, but she specifically started talking shit about my friend Brad because she remembers from a previous conversation that I had that Brad is garbage at Apex, right? So I trained her on that idea just to fuck with my buddy in a Discord call one time, but she remembered that, right? So she knows that Brad is bad at Apex. So that's kind of showing off her memory a little bit, and also just showing you like under the hood here, we're using Claude Opus, which is one of the best large language models in the world. You actually have the ability up here to change the models that you're using as well as the providers. So I could switch to Google's Gemini if I wanted to, right? And yeah, but Opus is the best model that I have, and I'm paying for this, so that's what I'm using right now because it has the best reasoning of all the models that I've tested for what we're doing here. So anyways, moving on from the chat for now. Again, we have all these quick prompts, so you'll see how some of these work later. They're mostly built around the screener because that's the main benefit of this. All right, so this is where the app really starts to shine. So you guys all know what stock screeners are, or if you don't, it's a tool where you can look up stocks based on different technical criteria. However, that's really only valuable to you if you know what you're looking for. So, and that's like, even that in itself, like there's so much more that ties into it. There's the news, there's the macro economic picture, there's the current uh, like narratives that are out there. I guess I already said that because the news. What else? I'm trying to. I'm literally like brain farting right now. I said news, the macro regime, economic picture. Oh yeah, and that all ties into, right? Oh, and the fundamentals, of course, right? Like that all ties into the technicals. Traditional stock screener is purely technical. That's kind of the point I'm getting at here. So where this is different is each of these buttons, right? And I need to expand on this so they tell you more. But each of these buttons meets a certain criteria based on things I teach in the Discord. So behind the scenes, it is screening technicals, but it's also using AI to find confluences or other things that I look for in trades, right? So oversold quality, for example, is a quality fundamental company that's oversold off of its highs and it's trading at technical streams, right? So if you have an oversold pullback on a good company, that's a typical thing I look for, right? Breakout volume, if you're breaking out of a consolidation range on volume, right? It looks at that, but it also ties in the news and the current narrative of the stock, basically, and it also takes into account the macro, which is important because if it's a small cap versus a large cap, like you have different impacts on those sectors of the market based on that environment. Like small caps are very sensitive to rates, for example. And then we have my swing confluence setup, which is my like bread and butter that I use in the Discord, which I'm not going to explain all the specifics of here. If you're in the Discord, you know a little bit more about it, but these are where most of my swing trades come from, and it's multi-layered convictions. And yeah, so I think I'll stop talking now. And you can also switch like between right now just the S&P 500 because it's easy to test with, and then the watch list, and then custom symbols. You can type in your own. You can filter by conviction level, which you'll see in a minute, and you can limit the results. And then you have all these other filters once you actually get results. So let's go ahead and run a swing confluence scan. And behind the scenes, the AI is doing a lot right now, right? But I won't bore you with the specifics. But for anybody that trades in my Discord, basically the things that I teach are what these are trained around, okay? And it gave back a bunch of results, right? So here we go, we have all these results, and you'll notice in the top right there's actually scores, right? So anything over a 70 is considered a strong, um, like a strong score for my app. So when you see 80, these are like really worth looking at, right? And I'll show you that it's not always gonna rank good. But so it scanned the entire S&P 500 and it found how many results do we have here? I don't know. I guess I need to make a total. See, that's what I'm saying. Like that was little stuff I'm noticing as I'm going. But you found all these results, right? So you can from here you can add them to your watch list. You can dismiss them, which will take them off the screen. You can expand with AI. So if I hit that, you'll see it's actually going to give me more information about that particular trade idea, right? And why the setup is good. And you can back test it and see how well it's worked out in the past. So I had 11% win rate, right? And then you can actually click on the card and you can see way more. So now you get a chart, right? You get the chart with the technicals that I teach, RSI, MACD, and then you have the confluences behind the scenes of the macro and all that stuff, right? So, you can actually, just like TradingView, like use the charts here and add indicators, etc., right? So pretty cool little feature, I'd say, right? So if you want to check the technicals for yourself or see it with your own eyes, because I'm very much a person that would want to do that, you can. And then you can click again, make it disappear. And if you look here on the side, it's actually telling you the thesis, right? Continue trend continuation with positive 20-day momentum above the 50-day SMA, long-term uptrend, bullish RSI 58.1, confluence regime, which means it's meeting all of my confluences, and the SPY is above the 200-day, meaning the market is bullish, right? And down here, again, this is showing you the back testing, because earlier I hit this back test button. So it's showing you every other time this trade set up how it would have played out. So obviously this one didn't work out great, right? Like based on the um, trade setup it's giving you, right? So just to kind of show more about that. So sometimes when you get one, like right here, FDX actually has at least a 1.5 risk reward, which is another thing we teach in the Discord, right? And in this case, because it's above a 1.5 risk reward, it actually gives you an entry, a stop, and a target. So we can click on that and we can back test that, right? And we can see this has a 50% win rate, showing the dates that these trades were available to take in, similar setup, right? And you can see technicals about it. You can see the regime, right? You know, lots of useful information here. But the reason, again, something really cool that makes this app very unique. Again, you couldn't screen like this already. Like this is already way more powerful than a normal screener because it's building in Confluence besides technicals. Like it's using things like fundamentals, right? So we can actually look at the fundamentals in some cases. I'm not sure why it's not showing. It's actually supposed to show the fundamentals here, so that might be a bug I'll have to look into. But there is a few more cards that are supposed to show here, but you get the idea, right? Unfinished, as I said. Um, so you have all this data-driven trading going on inside of this screener, okay? So, and you have other scans, so we can run an oversold quality scan, and you can see, so now you're seeing examples where it's not at least a 70, right? So if it's not a 70, that's underneath what the system, and I'm still very much working on this, so this is going to change, but it's telling you that it doesn't have high conviction if it's not over 70, and if it's over 80, that's super high conviction, right? And it comes up with this number based on technicals, fundamentals, catalyst, flow, and regime, right? So it's a combination of all of the confluences. That's why I said it's supposed to show. Oh, this one's showing it. I'm not sure why they didn't on the other screen. Yeah, see, it was a bug. So fundamental, expensive, the PE ratio is high. Catalyst, right? So it tells you if there's any, like if earnings was coming up, it would show that. Flow, social is bullish, which just means like Reddit. So that's not super helpful. But you get it, right? So you have all this data available to you, which what more could you fucking ask for as a trader? And it's tailored to my investing style, what I teach in the Discord, what I try to focus on passing to others that's been working for me for a couple of years now. So, and we can continue to expand on this and build on it, right? Like I'm still very much playing with this every day and adding features here. But so yeah, that's most of the screener. This is going to be kind of a long video. Sorry. But so next we get into the AI picks. So this is busted. This is busted. This takes a version of all of these quick prompts. So you have all your different sectors, macro, uh, your watch list, tech setups, financials, energy, biotech, small caps, mean reversion, which means like pull back to the mean, the middle, the moving averages, momentum leaders, volume breakouts, right? So it's taking a blend of all of that. It's checking all of the different sectors in the market, and it's using all of those different scoring techniques that I've come up with. And it's tying them all together as confluence, and it's going to pick 5 stocks for you based on that. So if we actually run this, it's going to find you high conviction setups, and it's going to return the 5 best trades that it finds. And again, right now the data set is just the S&P 500. Um, Actually, no, it's not. I don't believe that is. That's just for the when you do a manual screen. I'm sorry. I'm talking on my ass here. It's late. It's not just the S&P 500. I apologize. The S&P 500 is one of the only data sets available in the manual screens right now, and that's just because I'm in a testing mode. Anyways, you'll have access to the entire market when this is done if I release this, okay? So I'm flying by the seat of my pants, but we're going to let this scan for a minute, and it takes a minute because there's a lot going on here. It's tying all of that data together that I was talking about. and also using some of the skills built into Nova to reason through and think about the trades. Like the AI is actually assessing the news, assessing the scores, and learning what's going on with those stocks right now using Opus, right? Claude Opus, which again has like 160 IQ, smarter than you and me. So you can think what you want about AI, but it's insanely good if you know what data to give it. And it's going to tie all that together, and then it's going to bring back 5 stocks for us. So we just have to wait a minute, because there's just no way to make this faster. It's honestly insanely fast for what it's doing. For those of you that are more techie, I could show you the back end of this, and you'd be like, holy crap. But stand by with me here for a minute. And I could talk to her while she's doing this too. Like I could just start having a conversation with her via the voice chat, but kind of I might as well, right? Say hi to my viewers.
Hi, viewers. Yes, he's always like this. No, I don't get a day off. And before you ask, the flirting is included, the strategy is earned, and the Brad slander is free of charge. Welcome to the stream. Try to keep up.
Oh my god. So I have her trained to be sarcastic and snarky, and she knows she's my AI assistant, so that response was from the system prompt feed. So yeah, it's been fun making this thing. In case you can't tell, I'm having a blast with it. But yeah, so now we got these 5 results, right? So you can add them to your watch list from here. You get your total score, and here you go, your historical edge of 40%. Right, you have a 40% edge on the market with this trade setup, 75.5 conviction, and so we could ask Nova about this trade if we want to, right? So should we do that? What do you think? We should do that. So you can see there's 5 results just before we leave this page. So, and I have all the charts just open on these 5. I don't know if I'll keep it like that or not, but I think it makes sense because you're only getting 5. But yeah, so we can go to Ask Nova about this trade, and it'll drop all that data in there, and it'll give you a more consumable digest of that trade. Talk, so I'm going to turn that off. Okay, so there you go. She's given you kind of a breakdown, and so here's her verdict. It's a real setup, but it's not a layup. Refiners are macro sensitive. Crack spread, crude differentials, and that $4+ gas headline from earlier actually plays in your favor here if margins are expanding. But you're walking into earnings with a 40% historical win rate. That's a coin flip with a slight tilt. So it's saying there's earnings coming up. It's telling you that, hey, watch out, there's earnings. It's telling you it has momentum because gas, right? So it's telling you about the risk, right? So then it's telling you if you take it, this is how you take it, right? I'd rather see you stalk this one through the print than chase it into the print. So it's basically telling you it likes patience pays better than conviction here. So it's telling you that it has conviction, right? But it wants to see what happens with earnings, right? And you can actually hit chart here. I'll give you a little mini chart of it. Not super useful, but just kind of, I don't know, I might expand on that idea a little bit. And then you can actually say to her like, oh, I don't know, give me a trade plan, right? And she'll take all that data and she'll formulate you a trade plan. Now this isn't just AI. Like you guys have to understand, like to your eyes it may look that way, but behind the scenes she's using the skills that we've built in, right? So like I'll show you in a second here when she's done. So the reason that she knew to structure it that way is because we have a skill. Um, it might be under, I think it's under screener. Test. Oh, I don't know where it's at. I don't know where it's at. Maybe I didn't put it in the chat menu. I had to do that. But there's a skill called trade plan, right? And she's using that, and that's how this it knows to make this table entry. You know, like all of this data and the structure is coming from the trade plan skill. which again I'm still working on, right? It's kind of unfinished. There's a lot to this app, so I kind of bounce around. But anyways, yeah, so she gave you a whole trade. This is a measured trade, not a conviction bet. Your edge is the trend and momentum, not the earnings outcome. The trade the setup, respect the stop, and don't let 75 conviction score trick you into oversizing. The historical 40% win rate is the truth teller. So she's telling you that if you took this trade before earnings like this, you have a 40% win rate, which is true, right? Earnings is always a coin flip. We know this, okay? So that makes sense. So if you wanted to take this particular trade, which I wouldn't because I don't know enough about it here. I've just been blabbing this whole time. But if you wanted to, she helps you think through it. And you can continue to just talk to her about it, right? Like you could be like, uh, what do you think of waiting till earnings and then getting into the trend on a pullback if we get one? Just ask her, right? And now this is going to use just like straight up Opus's brain, okay? So this isn't like unique to my app at this point. Like you're having a conversation with an AI model, which you can already do, and it's not a bad thing to do, by the way. But so, but she has all of this data that she would not have as context, and that's the big gain here. So anyways, you guys get the point. She knows stocks, right? She knows stocks because we find stocks and we structure data for her to know stocks. And there is not a tool like this in the world to my knowledge. I am pretty sure this is uniquely something that I have at this point. I'm sure other people are building their own tools, I'm sure, but not all of them are software devs, and it's just, I don't know, it's kind of cool. It's custom tailored to the way that I trade, which is why I know nobody else has it. So anyways, here you go. We also have a calendar, which basic calendar features, right? And she can control the calendar as well, so I could come over here and be like, add a party for tomorrow. Add a party. Let me just talk to her. Hey, can you put a party tomorrow on the calendar for 3 p.m.? I don't know why I'm trying to type. So I could tell her to do that. There you go. Tomorrow, Friday, May 1st, which it is. And if you look, there's a party. So she actually can, you get, that probably demonstrates like what she can do, right? She has access to the entire application. So you can control things yourself, or you can just talk to her and she'll do it. So that's a really cool thing. So this CRM is something that you guys probably don't care about. It's just like a contact list, and this is just test data because I was trying different stuff. But client retention management, whatever, fucking yeah. And then oh yeah, for one more thing. So there's the notes, and these are persistent, meaning they stay in memory. But if we actually come over here, we go to our last conversation here, right? And we say, hey, will you add a note about this trade plan? So if she's gonna reason through that and she's gonna add a note, but she's able to know to do that because of um, skill, right? Profile memory append skill. Right? So behind the scenes, that's what's happening, and that's what I was talking about earlier. Like she has the ability to reason well enough to know what skills to call on, and she's aware of the skills in the app, but you can also call on them yourself if you want to, right? So it's extremely powerful. You pretty much never have to use this menu once you understand what this software can do because you can just talk to her and you can literally use your voice like I've been showing you. So she said saved. So if we go back over here, you can see there's a trade plan with all the steps to execute it, and everything that you were talking about is stored here, and her note to you to remind you to be cautious because of uh, earnings like we were talking about, right? So, and again, like this needs to be cleaned up. This should be showing, it's showing raw markdown and it should be showing formatted text. So like this is still unfinished, guys. Okay, there's a lot here that still needs to get done, but that is largely what I wanted to show you guys with Nova, and I hope some of y'all think this is cool as I do. I mean, I literally have my own virtual assistant that can also assess trades the same way I do. So she can literally find signals and find setups for me and find investments for me. And she literally did it today in a real way. And it's pretty cool. It's really, really cool. And I'm going to keep expanding on it and keep broadening it and keep adding to it. And it's going to get better. And maybe people will want it, maybe people won't. I don't know. But it's a tool for my personal life that I'm really proud of. And I'm glad I got to share it with you guys today. Let me know what you think. Deuces. Say bye, Nova.
Bye, Nova. Kidding. Bye, viewers. Take care of him out there. He runs hot, forgets to eat, and ignores his stops when I'm not watching. Luke, back to work. I'll be here.
Deuces, guys.